Hello and welcome to InvestorToday.ca. I'm your host, Dave Glover. InvestorToday.ca is brought to you in conjunction with RBL Communications, your online IR professionals. It is Wednesday, December 12th, 2012, and today I am joined by President of Arianne Resources, Jim Cowley. Arianne Resources, which trades on the TSX under the symbol DAN. Arianne Resources is a Canadian mineral exploration company primarily focused on development of the Lac Opal phosphorus titanium project. The phosphate deposits are expected to produce high-quality ingenious apatite concentrate grading about 39% P2O5 with little or no contaminant. Jim, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, actually. It's a pleasure to have another chance to talk to you about what's happening at Lac Opal. I guess the first things we want to talk about, though, is 2012, which is just about to wrap up. We're at the end of the year, and we can talk about your achievements this year.
Okay, happy to talk about that, Dave. It's been a very good year for us. First of all, we completed the update of our pre-feasibility study, which reviewed the project at a 50,000 ton per day mining and milling rate that would produce, on average, 3 million metric tons per year of our phosphate concentrate. And as you mentioned earlier, that is a very high-grade phosphate concentrate, 39 to 40%, we're hoping. The pre-feasibility study proved that we had a great project here. The net present value on a pre-tax basis was roughly $1 billion NPV, and the assumptions that we used were very, very conservative, we feel. It's one of the things we're continuing to do now is on to our bankable feasibility study, but completion of the pre-feas was very important. As well, we followed up on some of the directives that were given to us by the engineering group in the pre-feasibility study and conducted a lot of additional definition drilling on the Paul zone in particular. That's the highest grade zone that we intended to mine at Lac Opal. And the Paul zone drilling significantly expanded the mineralized envelope of that deposit. It's still open both to the east and the west and at depth, but we stopped drilling at around 400 meters in depth as that we think is probably the extent of the depth that we'll mine in that area. But we've extended the strike length of that mineralized envelope at least by 2. It's looking very, very consistent, the same sorts of grades. The idea, the objective being to increase the size of that deposit as much as possible. That is the highest grade of the area that we've found. Although we have found other mineralized areas in testing zones along the magnetic anomaly, and there is a considerable amount of ore at surface in numerous areas on our large property. So the definition drilling was a great success. Now that will be fed into the resource calculation for our bankable feasibility study, and we're very, very optimistic about that.
Well, so it sounds to me like you've done significant work on the feasibility, and so going into 2013, can you give the listeners an idea as to what the next step is going to be?
Well, should say that we also kicked off the bankable feasibility study, and that will be completed in 2013. And that bankable feasibility study, as I just mentioned, will include a much larger resource calculation base. It will also include metallurgical test work that we kicked off in 2012 as well. And that's being done by Jacobs Engineering in Lakeland, Florida, and they're the world-renowned expert in phosphate processing. And that will tie together very nicely with the bankable feasibility study, which I should have mentioned also was kicked off with Sedgwick Worley Parsons in August of this year. And that has all been funded, by the way, by a $10 million credit facility and $1 million placement that we completed in September. So 2013 should be an excellent year for us. We'll receive the metallurgical test work from Jacobs in Q1 and, have a report sometime in Q2. We'll complete all of our environmental impact assessments sometime in Q1 and start making permit applications in Q2. We will complete that bankable feasibility study that I spoke about sometime in the summer. We're hoping in Q3. At that point, we'll be in a great position to begin discussing project finance with various partners. The idea being that we are full steam ahead in getting ready to go to construction on this project. All the signs are great. The metallurgical test work is going great. The environmental impact analysis is going great. All the drilling that we have to do, hydrology, geotechnical, infill, condemnation, is all pretty much finished now. So we're looking for really a number of great accomplishments to build on our successes in 2012.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's something obviously shareholders and investors are excited to hear, especially when it looks like you're going to be expanding your feasibility study. And, it just makes the project that much more attractive, I guess, especially in these markets.
Well, that's one of the things we did notice right away is that the value and use of our product is very similar to that of groups selling concentrate out of Russia, and the price that they're getting is in the $280 to $300 area. So we know that the price that we'll probably use in the bankable study will be significantly higher than what we saw earlier.
Right.
And as you realize, the sensitivity of the net present value of this project is very sensitive to it's $23 million for every dollar of increased price. So using a higher price is going to bump the NPV expectations on the project considerably. They were $1 billion with the pre-feasibility study. We're expecting it may approach $2 billion with the changes that we're making in the bankable study. But I won't be able to fully disclose that until we get the bankable feasibility study complete sometime this next summer. But it's looking very, very positive.
So it sounds like full steam ahead then for 2013. Now you've also got some news regarding the appointment of Pierre Lortie as the chairman now of Arianne Resources.
Yes, that's correct. That's a pretty exciting development for us, given Pierre's history with the Consolidated Thompson mine, where he was involved from the pre-feasibility study stage, a very junior company, through to the sale of the company to Cliffs Mining. It was a great iron ore development story. Pierre also has a considerable corporate and legal experience with Bombardier, and as well was president of the Quebec Stock Exchange at one point.
Wow.
Just got a great resume, and has been a very active and involved chairman in the business for the last couple of months since his appointment. So he's a very powerful motivating force for the company, and has been a great driver of the value addition, value creation for our shareholders. So I think we're going to benefit enormously from his involvement.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like he's definitely hit the ground running. Now, in the introduction, I stated that Arianne Resources Inc. is a Canadian mineral exploration company, but it sounds to me like you may, in fact, be moving right into production.
We are. We're heading full steam ahead towards that. Once we complete the bankable, we'll be ready to go to project finance. And the only step beyond that, detailed engineering and hire an EPCM, and we're off to the races. Of course, the project finance step is an important step, and that's what the bankable feasibility study is all about. It's the sort of the blocking and tackling, if you will, that we have to do before we can complete that step. It's a step that almost every corporation, every bank has to take. That is the final step before we start spending the big bucks.
Wow. So you've got the foundations are already in place, the pre-feasibility and the bankable feasibility study. Sounds like everything's going to be completed and ready to start to roll at the beginning of summer 2013. So it sounds like you guys have got a very exciting year ahead of you at Arianne Resources. Just though, I guess what I want to ask now is just sort of, is there any final word you'd like to offer investors at this time?
Oh, well, I mean, I would just say stay tuned. It's looking very, very positive. All the work that we're doing is going to enhance considerably the value of the company. The way that the analysts value our company now is they discount it for the unknowns. And as we check off these boxes, the metallurgy, the bankable feasibility study will actually get bids on a lot of the major equipment, sizing, very detailed engineering look. The market study by CRU will give us a very professional outlook on the value and use of our product and our ability to price it effectively in certain markets. Just stay tuned for developments, because every one of those is going to be another risk that is, if you will, being minimized, and it will enhance the value of the project and really should start to move the share prices as well. So we're We're pretty pleased with the spate of work that's ahead of us and the progress that we've made. Yeah, keep an eye on what's going on with us.
So again, listeners, it's Arianne Resources, definitely one for you to watch. I'm speaking with Jim Cowley. He is the director and president of Arianne Resources. Arianne, which trades on the TSX under the symbol DAN. Well, Jim, I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to wish you a happy holidays, and those of you at Arianne Resources. And it sounds to me like you're going to have a fantastic 2013. So again, investors, definitely one to watch. For InvestorToday.ca, I'm Dave Glover. We'll see you next time.